what would be useful here is to make a distinction between right, liberal, and left. The left criticism of internationalism and the post-war international order, and liberal self-criticism of the order, were not sort of criticisms per se of international governance. They stipulated that the way it was conducted might be unfair, that it might preserve certain inequalities within it. There are like sort of legacy inequalities coming out of colonialism or informal imperialism. But they didn't stipulate that there was no such thing as a legitimate world government. In fact, they relied on it either as an extension for liberals of their own sovereignty project, right, to extend American power through international orders, or to rectify, for the left, problems with international capital, imperialism, etc. It strikes me that the right, however, in the United States, that point of view of criticizing liberal internationalism is really almost a per se criticism, that it is on the face illegitimate to have international governance. The reasons for the critique in 1919 for no joining the League of Nations were rooted really in three things. One, the assumption that liberal international governance would usurp the US Constitution. Number two, that sort of adherence to international principles would somehow trample the unique history and culture of the United States, which should be celebrated. But above all, that it would allow non-white, non-Christian people perceived as uncivilized to have a say over the United States and the people within the United States. And that skepticism about it, based on sort of racial and social hierarchies, pervaded the sovereigntist right-wing movement throughout the 20th century. And when the UN was created, they were appalled that it would be dominated by what they called the, quote, Afro-Asian bloc. So I think draining the right-wing critique of sovereignty of that legacy and of its sort of per se criticism of the establishment of international governance doesn't really allow us to see clearly the spectrum on which international governance is debated from right to liberal to left.